The race for pumpkin tits was much, much closer than is generally reported. Switching just 44,000 votes in Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin would have meant re-election for pumpkin tits. With the 269 tie in Electoral College, good thing he didn't get re-elected, but the House would have broken the tie, and one vote for each state. The result would have been 26 Republican majority states to 20 Democratic majority states. 3 ties, and Iowa still undecided, and you thought the Democrats were unhappy with the Constitution back in 2016. The tight margins in Arizona, which was under 11,000 votes, Georgia under 13,000 votes, and Wisconsin under 21,000 votes, all under one half of the 1%, are an indictment not only of Pumpkin Tit's legal strategy, but of his own lack of discipline and serial blunders over the past 2 years. After complaining for months that he would be cheated, it appears that the Pumpkin Tits campaign did little, if anything, to guard against the vote theft. Not only that, they were woefully unprepared to seek legal redress once Election Day passed. His bumbling legal team has been shot down by both Republican and Democratic judges with hardly a victory at all, and one wonders, can Rudy Colludi even fix a parking ticket? Pumpkin Tits has focused an enormous amount of energy on Pennsylvania, where his margin of defeat is greater than Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin combined, and on Michigan, where his losing margin is greater than Pennsylvania and the 3 aforementioned states combined. Bad legal strategy and lack of preparation are just the latest in Pumpkin Tits' mistakes. If he was swindled, he certainly deserved it. The bottom line is this, that Pumpkin Tits could have won had he exercised just a little more self-discipline and made fewer mistakes, not to mention the big blunders over the past 2 years. He's utterly undisciplined. It's rather hopeless to expect Pumpkin Tits to be a disciplined public figure, but does he really have to be so spectacularly undisciplined and non-strategic? Just the slightest bit of self-control might have turned the tide. Consider the first debate widely considered a debacle for Pumpkin Tits. It was completely out of control, and Pumpkin Tits careened from complaint to complaint, sounding like a 4-year-old who forgot to take his Ritalin. Not only did Pumpkin Tits turn off the public with his performance, he played right into the Biden campaign's hands. The entire political world knows that Joe Biden's weakness is unscripted talking. Pumpkin Tits' unwillingness to let Biden get a word in edgewise perfectly suited the Biden strategy to say as little as possible and let Pumpkin Tits talk his way out of the race. In addition, Pumpkin Tits' constant mocking of Biden's intelligence lowered the bar significantly for Biden. The second debate vindicated the Biden strategy as the mute button, which Pumpkin Tits complained about, and it forced Biden to talk and explain more, to his detriment. Pumpkin Tits performed much better in that structured environment, but by the time millions more Americans had already voted and the damage had already been done. Hand in hand with lack of discipline is Pumpkin Tits' determination to indulge every impulse and grievance. Consider his indiscriminate attacks on John McCain, a still popular former senator from a vital swing state. John McCain never lost an election in Arizona, winning all his state Senate races by well over 10 points, and as with many U.S. senators who had held the office for over 30 years, McCain had an extensive network of donors, allies, and friends, and more to the point, there are plenty of people in Arizona that McCain has done favors for over the years, and yet Pumpkin Tits persisted in his criticisms, to no obvious benefit and at a clear electoral cost. Arizona ended up being Pumpkin Tits' closest loss at less than 10,500 votes, simply not indulging his anger toward McCain, but it could have won him the state. Too little, too late. A lot of talk and not enough action is the history of the Pumpkin Tits administration. Throughout Pumpkin Tits' term, the economy was the number one issue for the public, an issue that Pumpkin Tits focused on. But health care has been a consistent and clear number two, although health insurance premiums have been declining during his administration. Inexplicably, Pumpkin Tits never made that a centerpiece for his campaign. Instead, he focused on eliminating Obamacare, despite public opinion that is mixed to favorable. The public is very concerned about the prescription drug prices, and that concern is nonpartisan, yet Pumpkin Tits dawdled on the issue while he criticized high prices from the beginning of his administration. He did very little to address this issue. Only in the summer of 2020 did Pumpkin Tits actually act, signing a series of executive orders, and what took so long? Did Pumpkin Tits forget that he was up for re-election? In spite of public concerns, Pumpkin Tits' last-minute stab did nothing for his standing on the issue. In a September 2019 poll, 66% of the public believed that Pumpkin Tits had done little or nothing to help control prescription drug prices, including 38% of Republicans. Drug prices are just a part of a series of too little, too late policy actions. Another example is the endless American involvement in Afghanistan. After talking about getting out, it is only after he lost It is only after he lost that Pumpkin Tits appears to be moving to exit his unpopular intervention. In spite of fervent opposition by the foreign policy establishment, a mere 10% of Americans oppose an Afghanistan pullout, and just 11% oppose withdrawing from Iraq, essentially the same figures. The bottom line is that Pumpkin Tits, and Pumpkin Tits alone, owns this loss. In spite of the coronavirus universal opposition by the legacy media and being outspent, Pumpkin Tits had every opportunity to defeat Biden and the fractious Democrats. With everything going their way, the Democrats still had managed to eke out just a win. There is no doubt about it, Pumpkin Tits failed in the clutch, and he's always been a failure. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Random Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.